Hello, 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 and welcome to After Dark Talk Radio. Let me just pop the link in here really quick. Perfect. All right, let's see if I can pin that. All right, very good. So, welcome. Welcome to After Dark Talk Radio. Tonight, we are going to have a bit of a discussion about competition. so, so today is day one of the Miss Massachusetts competition. And I have a current title holder that is competing, and I also have two past title holders that are competing. And it really brings up the whole thought process today of competition in itself, because competition, when we think about competition, in reality, even though we're competing against others, right, for a particular title, let's say job, dating, your significant other, even though, you're if you're just starting dating, right, and you were like, "Well, I wanna date that guy, and he's dating somebody else," or he's dating multiple people or something like that, you're competing, right, for your title of girlfriend. Even if we're in these different types of situations, each time when we start going for what it is that we want, we realize that, or sometimes we feel like we've done something wrong, right? Like we often will come up with, "Oh, I didn't do so well. Like, I didn't do this well, or my interview was bad," or something of that nature, or "I messed up. I did this. I did that." When in reality, number 1, nobody would ever know if you messed up unless you, like, tripped and fell, right, like, in front of them, and you think that that's what messing up is, like, okay, fine. Um, but that's not really the case, right? We are, in general, we are 100% in competition with only ourself. We are not in competition with others. We are not in competition with, like the girls that are competing, they're not in competition with each other. But because they're in that sort of a situation, they start believing that they're in competition with the other, right? Because things happen in a particular way. They've got interview and then on stage question and, evening gown, all of these things. And they end up believing that they are in competition with each other because they're going one right after the other after the other. But in reality, they're not. They are strictly being judged on themselves, right? And it's the same in business. It's the same in relationships. It's the same when we are going for something that we want. It is very difficult for us to realize that we're competing against ourselves. We want to be the victim on occasion, and we want to say, "No, that person was better than me," or "No, I am not doing," I failed in some way, which that can be the case in the sense that you actually didn't do the full thing, right? You didn't try full out. You didn't live up to your true potential, right? Instead of giving 100%, you only gave 75. I can see that, right? But we need to remember that we are never in competition with others. It's how we perceive that thought process, right? We are constantly always looking at ourselves and thinking, "Oh, they're better than me," or "They look better than me," or "Oh my god, I like their hair so much better than mine. Mine's crappy." Like I need to do more something more with my hair, or I like the makeup that they're wearing. I don't like mine. I should really do something with, better with my makeup. Something like that. And that's really not the case. It's all about you. You are 100% the person that is in control of your whole situation, your life, your motherhood, your employment, your being a significant other, your weight loss journey, your everything. It's all based on you and your desires and what you think you can handle and how far you are willing to push yourself in a certain situation. So I want you to remember this because the competition is not about them. It's about you and strictly you. The I'll give you an example. Today, not today. One moment. Recently, I am currently in my master's program to finish up my master's degree. and and I am in this one particular class, and this class is I think I talked about this last week, maybe. It's international terrorism for non-state actors. It's a very interesting course, and I actually find the subject matter interesting. And I love to put effort right into what I do. I always do. I like to do the best that I can on a regular basis. But the this other girl, there's only 2 of us in this class. So you've got the teacher who appears to be extremely intelligent and has a background in terrorism and all of this stuff. So she, in educational, teaching, stuff like that and whatever. And very, very interesting teacher. It's an online course, and some of these questions that are being asked are very, very, very difficult. They're they're it's like, "Oh my god, how am I gonna answer this?" Of course, I've gotta read the stuff, right? Read the chapters, read the things so I can answer the questions. And and before I'm even, like, starting to read stuff, or maybe I've only read a little bit, then the other person in this class who's young, like half my age, will she'll come in and she'll answer the questions, and just the level of her writing and the way that she answers the questions, I'm like, "Damn it." Like, now I have to pull out all the stops, right? I'm like, "I'm not as smart as her." Even though I'm totally just as smart as her, like, I'm probably even smarter, like, due to, like, twice her age, you know what I mean? But I was just like, I'm gonna have to, like, actually act like I know what I'm talking about. So, this truly brings this up, right? This is how we feel in life on such a regular basis. We always think we are in competition with others, and we just are not. But here's totally just something that I just did this past week or the week before, right? We're on week 3, so this is week 3. I've gotta do some homework tonight, and I've got a paper I gotta write all before Sunday. Oh my goodness, and I've got the Miss Massachusetts competition this week. It's crazy, it's a crazy week. But, oh my god. So, here I am, I'll read her answer or just look at it, right? And I'm like, "Ugh, I'm gonna have to be intelligent. I'm gonna have to act like I know what I'm talking about." And it's just so, so, so funny because I if I just did the work myself and just put myself out there without looking at somebody else and thinking, "Oh my god, I need to step up my game because they're better than me," right? We do it in every situation in life continuously. These girls will do it this week, even though they know for certain that they are not in competition against each other. It's just not how the system's built. They're in competition with their self, but they'll compare themselves anyways. We'll compare ourselves to others on the internet. We compare ourselves continuously. We believe that we are in competition with others, and we just are not. But we have to remember that we are not in competition. We have to remember that we have the confidence within us. We have to remember that we are that strong, amazing human that we truly are. And sometimes it gets hard. It gets hard to remember that because either you're in a situation like these girls are going to be in, or you're in a situation like I am in regards to my schooling, right? Where I'm looking at somebody else and I'm thinking, oh my God, they're better than me. Like, I'm gonna have to act intelligent today. Like, I know I'm totally smart, but I like to joke like that, right? I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to pull out all the stops. Or, we're the mom at the school, and, we're dropping off of our kids, and there's the Pinterest mom, right, who's got the cool little, like, sandwich, and it's all cut up for Johnny, and it's all, magical, the little lunch, and here's my slapped together sandwich in a brown paper bag, and I'm giving it to my kid, there you go, right? And we start thinking, "Oh my god, I'm not a good mom. Not a good mom because 'cause I'm not Pinterest perfect." We're not in competition with these people. We're only in competition with ourself. And we allow our limiting self beliefs. We allow our negative thoughts. We allow all of these things that we tell ourselves on a regular basis to permeate our system and get in there and become part of our thinking and part of the way that we live our life and part of the way that we are thinking about ourselves. And we allow it to bring ourselves down. We allow it to start mattering. Mattering? Is that even a word? We allow we allow that other stuff to matter, and it doesn't. It doesn't matter, but we put weight on it. We give it a weight. We give it like a score, right? We give it like, that's worth 10 points. Oh my god. We let all of those negative thoughts and those negative points and all of that stuff, start to matter much more than our own personal thoughts and the way that we think about ourselves, how we think about ourselves when we look in the mirror, how we, look at our hair. I just blew dry my hair. It's all like all over the place. But, how we look at our hair, how we look at our, face and our makeup or our lack of makeup. Just get out of the shower. You know, we start comparing. We really, really, really do. We start comparing and think, "Oh my god, they're so much better than me. They know what they're doing. They're much further along than me. I don't know what I'm doing." Like, oh my god, no. I can't do what they can do. I could never do what they can do. But we can. We absolutely can. We just have to remember to tell ourselves that we can do it, or just do it. We don't even have to tell ourselves, just actually do it. It is so important that we look at ourselves and consider what we have to say first. We like to put ourselves behind everybody else, and we like to think that their opinion over there or what they're doing over there is much more important than what I'm doing right here. We begin to think that we are in competition with these other people. We begin to think that what they're doing is more important than what we are doing. How could you even possibly think about that? Think that yourself, right? There was a, conversation that somebody recently had where they were saying that someone was bullying them, and they were so devastated by their comments that they legitimately felt depressed and felt like hurting themselves because of somebody else's words. That should never happen. We should never allow someone else's opinion to permeate our system and be more important than the way we think of ourselves. And that's what can happen when we have a lack of confidence and a lack of self-esteem and a lack of that ability to hold ourselves up, to stand up for ourselves, to know what we stand for, to be thoughtful of ourselves, to be confident in ourselves, to know who you are. knowing how important you are, knowing how beautiful you are, knowing how you feel about certain things. I think one of the things that we kind of not fail on, but one of the things that is lacking per se is the knowledge of how we think of certain things. The knowledge of how do I feel about myself? The knowledge of how I feel about my hair, the knowledge about how I feel about my heart and my thinking, the knowledge of how good of a parent I am, the knowledge of the things that we are doing on a regular basis, the knowledge of how I am doing things in my business, the knowledge of just the subject matter at hand that I speak about, right? Most of my subject matter, of course, is going to come from personal experience or things that I'm, speaking to clients about or, popping into groups about and that's where my knowledge comes from experience, right? From the things that I doing or talking about, like the Miss Massachusetts competition this weekend, right? It comes from my knowledge and perception and the way that I see girls treat each other, or you see their comments and they think to themselves, oh, I'm not as good as this girl, right? So my knowledge is coming from all of this. But if I didn't have any knowledge and I came and spoke to you and I just started talking and I didn't have the knowledge of what I wanna speak to you about, then what I'm talking to you about becomes less. It becomes not as weighted because there's no substance to it, right? So, I know that this particular situation happened. I know how I was feeling when I'm talking about, being in competition, right, with others and looking at somebody else and judging their work versus mine. I know how it feels like to be judged, right? I know the conversation that I was speaking with somebody about the other day about that bullying situation where they end up feeling horrible. But because when there's that lack of knowledge about how you feel about yourself or how you feel about a certain situation or how that lack of self esteem, that lack of confidence, that's when these things, these statements, these bullying statements, these being in competition with others has a tendency to permeate within our thoughts, permeate our mind, permeate the way we look at ourselves, permeate that little bubble that we're living in, right? We have to keep ourselves in this little protected bubble because we need to protect ourselves. We need to protect ourselves from that outside world because not everybody is nice. Not everybody has works on the same level we do, right? We're beautiful, strong women. And when we have a tendency to be around other beautiful, strong women, we start to compare. We start to think about, I wonder if they're doing something better than I am. Maybe I should be doing that, right? So it's very important that we actually learn some of the knowledge that I'm speaking about, whether it's the subject matter at hand that you want to speak about, whether it's going for an interview. I had the other day I had somebody talking about going for an interview and they just couldn't do it. Like their thought process was that they just couldn't make it through an interview because they just didn't have the self-confidence to do so. But what if you knew everything about yourself that you wanted to talk about? So part of some of the things that we do for Miss Massachusetts is we prepare our particular title holder for interview, and it's based off their resume, right? Their resume and their community service initiative. So if they didn't have knowledge of their resume and their community service initiative, whatever their subject matter is, then how could they have the confidence to speak about it? If they're asked questions about it, how would they have the confidence to speak about it? So when and if you're going for an interview and you're going for an interview for a particular job, let's just say the job is a dog walker, right? And on my resume, I say that I have been a dog walker for 10 years and that I have, walked 10 dogs every week for 52 weeks each year And, I've walked this particular type of dog and this particular type of dog and this particular type of dog. And I know that I go to each family's home and, I tell them how I take care of the dogs and how I meet with each person and, they tell me exactly what needs to happen and then I have a list of, what I do for my services. So if I'm then being interviewed for a job, walking a dog, and they're asking me about my past history and what kind of experience I have, and if I don't know that stuff of what's on my resume, right? Like here's my resume. I hand you my resume and I say, okay, here's everything about me. And then we have an interview and we start talking about all the stuff that's on that resume and I'm like fumbling all over the place and I have no idea what I'm talking about and I'm like trying to pull stuff out of the air and if I didn't study what's on my resume and take a look at what I've done in the past, especially right before my interview, and I've been doing this for 10 years, then I think there's going to be a disconnect, right? There's going to be a disconnect between the person who's interviewing me for my position and myself, right? And getting that job because I don't have that knowledge about my own self, which we should. We should have the knowledge about our own self. So when we're missing that piece, when we haven't done the studying and we don't have that confidence about what we want to speak about, but the confidence is going to come from learning and studying what you want to speak about. And if it happens to be you, the subject matter is you, then that's where your confidence is going to lack. That's where you're going to miss some of the things that you want to talk about. You're going to miss the words coming out of your mouth that you're conveying to your interviewer, right? You're going to miss some of that information because your lack of knowledge on the subject matter at hand is going to make that disconnect happen. So the point is to study and to understand yourself, understand what you're made of, understand where that confidence is built. The confidence comes from within us, and we have to consider ourself, consider our thoughts, consider what we've done in the past. So, like with the dog walking job, if I know my history inside and out, I know what I've done. I know that I've walked these types of dogs. I know that I walk them every week for 52 weeks for 10 years. I know how many times I've basically walked a dog. I know what my services are. When you then study that and you have that knowledge and you're able to regurgitate it and you're able to speak with confidence on it, then your confidence blooms, right? You then begin to have that confidence about yourself. I've recently taken on this particular movie as my like life message. It's hilarious. I talk about Richard Gere and Julia Roberts in the movie Runaway Brides, where she doesn't know the type of eggs she likes because every single person that she's been dating, she just takes on what they like. Can't do this. We have to know what we like. If we don't even know what type of eggs we like, how are we going to understand and fit into our world and be part of a relationship or be part of a workplace or be part of a situation when we don't even know anything about ourselves? So we have to take that piece and consider it very well, consider it strongly that we are not in competition with others. We are strictly in competition with ourselves. It's just a matter of knowing who we are so that we can be the best person that we want to be. We get to put forward the best information that we have. We get to put forward the best person that we are, the best presentation. We need to know the knowledge about ourselves, how we feel about ourselves in particular situations, how we feel about going live, how we feel about dating, how we feel about being in new situations, right? How we feel about doing different things. But if we don't know, then how can we have confidence about it? How could we have confidence about ourselves? Right? It's an intriguing conversation because it's almost like which came first, chicken or the egg? Which came first, the confidence or the knowledge, right? You can be confident about you can be confident when you don't know the knowledge, but it all depends on where you've built that confidence from. Do you have any reserves of confidence left to be able to walk into that room and speak about a subject matter at hand when you don't know anything about it, right? Can you do that? Can you utilize that inner confidence to walk into a room and feel like you belong there? Are you able to, have that confidence when you start dating another person and they're asking you questions about yourself and you're nervous, but you can you have that confidence to have that conversation and not be choosing the type of eggs they like because you don't want to tell them what kind of eggs you really like? Because maybe you don't know because you've never thought about it. You've never thought about who you are. Who are you? Do you sit and do you consider who you are? What is it that you even like? Do you like it when you are public speaking? Do you like public speaking? No? Yes? Maybe? Public speaking makes me a little bit nervous every single time. It doesn't matter, but I do it anyway. I like to talk to people. I love people. I can hold a classroom of police officers, which makes it even more difficult because they're very judgmental. Everybody's very judgmental, everyone in this world, and it's okay. I'm good with that because I'm confident. Confident in who I am, confident in what I look like, confident in my knowledge of a subject matter. The confidence comes when you have the knowledge piece. It's very important. All right, with that, I'm going to pull a card for our group tonight. Oh, goodness. All right, because I feel like with everything that's been going on with this, what is it? Schumann's resonance and the new moon, and with everything, we've had like a significant like roller coaster in the past couple of days. I feel like a whole bunch of things have gone like wrong and right. Um, at the same time, like they right themselves after they break, right? Like my vacuum broke and then my car did something weird. And but then like the ship righted itself like fairly quickly. Like I was able to have a new vacuum within like 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Went to Walmart, grabbed a new vacuum. But I feel like there is this energy that is within our system right now that is currently very wobbly, right? Even though we've had the new moon and we have had the new moon, right? Yes. It was just the other day. I always I never pay attention to my yeah, it was just the other day. It was on the 18th. I lost a couple of days. Whenever I work a midnight shift, I lose a day or two because I need a bunch of sleep in between there. Um, but sometimes it's just crazy. The energy has been very wobbly for me. Something almost like a little anxious and a little like that riding the ship just broken, but then being able to ride it, right away, um, type of energy. So we'll pull a card for the group and for whoever watches this on replay. And if you do watch this on replay, hashtag replay, let me know your thoughts. All right. So let's go ahead and pull a card here. All right. First breath, beginner's mind. So this is perfect. What a good card. First breath, beginner's mind. So this is kind of what I see as like a renewal, right? And I know we just talked about the new moon. So we've been in this energy for 3 days now. So if the full moon happened on the 18th. Today's the 21st. And it's almost like that baby's newness, right? That having that renewed energy when we have the situations like we just talked about with that lack of knowledge and that lack of confidence with whatever it is that we're going into. When we have that knowledge and beginner's like that beginner's desire to learn and that beginner's desire to really soak in like this like a sponge all of the new information, kind of like that baby coming into the new world, like so many new you know so many new things coming in, stimulation, right? Like light and air and warmth and breath and heartbeats and all of that newness. So when just like a newborn, when we're moving into this new world and we've got all of this new stimuli coming in, it's recognizing that that's almost like a fresh breath, a fresh look, a fresh way of beginning to do something. So taking all of that and allowing that to be like a new start, a new step, a new day, a new thought process, right? And allowing that to begin to be something new, something that you can start every day off with, something new, something, anything that you desire, right? Allowing that to happen and understanding that every single day, every moment, every relationship, every day you walk out the door is a new opportunity to do something and feel something and be more confident and be more in touch with yourself and be less of competing with other people, less of, right, allowing that to permeate into us. So being strong, allowing every single new day to be a new place that you can be, a new step, right? Just an amazing lease on life, right? Like you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, today's a totally new day. I can do anything I want to do today. That new energy, right? Nothing has to be like yesterday. Every single day can be new, and you can choose to do whatever it is that you want to do today. That's what's amazing about this world. That's what's amazing about this life. We have a choice every single day, every minute to make a choice, to make a change, to do whatever it is that you desire. We live in an amazing place and it's an amazing world. So pay attention to that. Let's see what the book says in regards to this card. A fresh start and renewed curiosity, natural trust, beginner's mind. When the first breath card shows up for you, it is time to leave the old stories and tales behind. You have arrived. Take a deep breath and another. There is nothing else you need to do but take in the new world that is revealing itself around you. Trust your natural curiosity. There is no need to dwell on how difficult the journey has been or how tight the passage to get to where you are now. Just take it all in and experience the awe and wonder of your arrival at this destination. Even if it is a familiar place you have come to many times before, try to experience it as if for the first time, for you are renewed and the old you is no longer your concern. Practice the beginner's mind, not labeling or naming what you see and experience. That situation that was so difficult only a few days ago, just be with it and breathe. You have already gone beyond it, have overcome and resolved it, even if no one else realizes this yet. Soon enough, they will as you move on. Do not squander the power of first breath, giving the old narrative mouth to mouth resuscitation. Use it for new beginnings to animate a world you can play and create in. Do not underestimate the power of your breath and the magic of the word. Fabulous. All right. Well, thank you so much. And that is all tonight for After Dark Talk Radio. So I hope you have a fabulous evening, and I will see you next week, Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a good one.